Oh, hey, what happened to my game? I'm playing video games with my remote. What my screen's gotten really weird. What are you doing here?
Hey.
What are you doing here?
I was here working on my FID day lessons, although FID day is redundant because the D in FID is day, but I like saying FID day versus FID. FID seems incomplete.
It's a little bit more British, like a day. FID day.
Yeah.
All right. So living the FID day life. Hey, good thing we talked about it in the last pod. I hope you went back and listened to some of our FID day tips.
I came up with a new one, by the way.
Oh yeah. What's that?
Well, because we take our attendance based on the kids completing assignments. Yep. And my kids are great. I mean, at worst, they can be a little bit annoying, a little bit goofy, which, hey, that's a big win. If that's the worst you could say about your kids.
Yep.
But one of the annoying things is they could be in the classroom and I could ask them, did you turn in your assignment online? And they will say yes. And then I go up to my computer and I'm like, okay, I'm not putting you on blast, but here are people that I have not gotten the assignment from yet. And I read down the list of kids I just questioned that said, yes, they turned it in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to trust I don't want to trust them forgetting to turn it in. They don't get credit for the day. So I just put a little one question right in the LMS Schoology. You know, if you're online, please click submit answer, create, type yes. You get a point. And that I'm doing. Then they have the regular assignments down below. So if they do it, you know, they'll get partial credit if they don't turn it in because I have to go find their scores, which is a pain. But they at least get for being online to get the attendance, you know. So that's my trick to make sure they get, you know, if they're online, they get credit for it and they don't have a glitch because they forgot something.
Yeah. Yeah. We kind of do that same thing, watching everything and marking down if they did some different assignments. And we give them like a choice board kind of a thing. And then we just kind of monitor in the back end. But in the classroom, like you're describing that situation where you ask them and they tell you no, you know, I fall back to, listen, we got a great relationship. You do a lot of great things, but in this scenario, the computer doesn't lie. I'm not saying you lied, but you may not have fully pressed that button that you thought you pressed. Yeah. Why don't you go back and then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh my word, it just showed up. Wow, it just must have fell out of the ether. I don't know. It's here. Good job. All right. I shook the computer and it was hiding in there, you know, but you have those moments with the kids for sure.
Oh,
so
I got a picture of your favorite computing device yesterday. As a Tretzy.
You know what? The second I did that, I totally knew you were going to make fun of, you know, everybody knows I'm a Surface fan and, you know, he just wants to keep calling them Etch-a-Sketches. But all I got to say is, you know, does your MacBook have touch? No, it doesn't. Thank you very much. Okay. So
Z had several devices on her table because I was at Tretzy yesterday.
Yeah. And you're wearing the garb. I like it.
So I'm on the committee. So the committee people got a shirt. Nice. I've recommended this idea from Pete and C, and you know, Z had an Etch-a-Sketch on her table. Like, oh, I got to get a picture of that real quick and send it to Verno. I should have uploaded it, but I was like,
I tell you,
I don't want to make fun of Microsoft because someday they may sponsor us, and that, you know,
you got to be careful.
Yes, I'm not going to antagonize.
So, instead of a picture of an Etch-a-Sketch, I got a picture of Brendan Powell and his Jason Kelsey jersey he was wearing and sporting in Pittsburgh, loud and proud. I appreciated seeing that. That was good stuff. My brother from another bearded mother. Yeah, it was good. Representing. I like it. All right. So like we were talking about, so you had a FID day today now.
Yes.
All right. So I would like all PD, PACT people to clue into this next question. So Dom, when you were supposed to be working contractually, were you watching any Otis videos for the Rumble? Just because it might be null and void.
I may have had
hours. I'm just saying.
I had my school Chromebook, which was antagonizing me because it was so slow. The second screen for that, as I was monitoring and grading student work, I needed some sort of background noise to keep me focused. The crackling from the fireplace in the basement family room wasn't enough. So I may have had some subliminal education going on in the background.
Okay.
While I was grading work, but because I don't go live with the kids because I have some students that don't have dedicated like a strong internet. So Zoom with them struggles, but I do put up, if you guys have any questions, I'm online during school hours. I'll have a meeting with you, just, reach out, and I monitor and I grade and I answer emails. A lot of kids will zip me emails and such.
Gotcha.
So
yeah.
I was doing that during my contractually obligated hours. Although I did have screens going because little birdie mentioned,
now it's going to bite me in the butt that I shared that tip at the meeting. Gotcha.
So,
all right. Yeah. So no, hey, it's all good. And then real quick, for the background, the more the merrier, just to throw it out there. So yeah, so we had 2-hour delay yesterday. Looking like we already 2-hour delay today, and the roads were, it was interesting going in. Tomorrow they've already called a lot of schools around here. Already have a 2-hour delay. And are you a 2-hour delay tomorrow, or are you a FID day tomorrow?
FID day tomorrow. We had in service yesterday, but I was at Tretzy, so I went to the conference for my in service. Then saw a lot of PACT people, a lot of KTIs, a lot of good connections, reconnecting with people. Introduced PACT to some people. Brendan, who wore his Philadelphia gear to Pittsburgh because he was expecting something from you, Mr. Verno. I said he can get another PACT Pod sticker, anti-theft device.
Yeah, take care of him.
That would be his prize. And he came up with the idea for a pre-conference event for PACT, and there's some people from that were attending Tretzy showed up, some new teachers that were introduced to PACT, and we hung out Sunday for a little bit. We had the conference. Today was a FID day. Tomorrow's a FID day, and probably back to school on Thursday. Although someone did float to the superintendent, why don't we just make it a week? And he was like, no.
Going to burn all those days, but yeah,
it wasn't me who had that suggestion.
So shockingly, you just told somebody else, like you went to a newer teacher, be like, hey, you'll really make good ground with the veteran teachers if you say this to the superintendent. I like that.
Yeah, he'll probably listen to you, but not me.
I've been here too long. They won't listen to me. They know all my ideas go into the secret box that gets shut. All right. Well, listen, I was told by a listener who remain anonymous about too much football talk, but both our teams are out. And since there's only one Pennsylvania team still in it, going with the hometown crowd. So when you see the image for this session, for this episode, you're going to see a little Eagles, AI generated Eagles Stadium under the snow. Because the Birds against the Commanders, went old school on that one. And then we got the Bills and the Chiefs. So my school, we do a fundraiser. We call it a food raiser. And the kids, we call it the Soup, SOUP, Bowl. And the kids can bring in non-perishable items that goes to our food pantry. We call it a cat pack program because we're the Wildcats. And so all the food brought in goes to that program, but the kids vote with their food. So we've taken like some of the highly desirable items are touchdown, 6 points. Some items that they really could use, don't need a lot of them. They're a field goal. And then some really a lot of the little peanut butter packs or little things, smaller ones that are really good. They're defensive sacks. So when the kids come in, we have shoulder pads from our high school, some jerseys, and my students make signs. We have them up. And so we call it a big food raiser. And then the 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, they'll bring food in and vote for their team. Who are you rooting for? Oh, I'm rooting for X. They'll set it down at that table, and my students use a Google form, and we tabulate all the stuff. So every morning the kids are bringing stuff in. So I was like, that would have been awesome for a Steelers-Eagles match, everybody Pennsylvania kind of a deal. I'm like, okay, the Ravens possibly, and then the game went the way it is. So I don't know. I'm just really hoping. I think we're going to have, a lot more people interested if the Eagles are in it. Even I can't tell whether it's Kansas City or Buffalo, whether now Kansas City won our food raiser last year. And this is the 8th year we're doing it. And it's awesome. I think the most we did was 2.5 ton of food that we were able to use for our own program. And then any extras went to other schools, and some things we couldn't use, we give to the local food pantry. But it's a cool little, what's the word I'm thinking for? Service hours that our students do, community service. And, like you said, they're doing all the tabulations in the morning, stacking everything up, keeping track of what it is. And they're making Canva graphics now. They're making pictures to kind of hang above all the water fountains in the building. We made a flyer, sent it out to the families. So I'm hoping that we have, some good traction with the teams that are in it. But yeah, our teams are out, and it's getting exciting. So it's wild.
Well, I thought since our teams aren't in it, we could talk draft. And I carved little figurines for the draft and Pittsburgh should draft. And even Miami, I've been doing some work.
Figured
we could skip the draft talk.
Okay, we'll skip the draft talk, because then we'd have to bring our specialist, resident hand grip size expert, Kevin, in to have a conversation about whether he does or doesn't like the quarterbacks that have good grip on the football. We don't need to bring him into that, because that's a whole other scenario there. But yeah, so a lot of good stuff. The weather is, I'm anchored here, getting ready for the show. Off to my side, as usual, is the Weather Channel rolling, because all teachers are volunteer part-time weather enthusiasts right now, and meteorologists, and we're rolling with it. But it's going to get colder, man. It's going to be, it's interesting. But
real quick, there are a couple comments that may not make the main screen. It's because we moderate our comments. So JG, don't take it personally.
Oh no, he should. He should. He's a Bills fan? Says who? Jordan, I need to unleash some stars at JG tomorrow. If he's truly a Bills fan, we need to take care of that in school. All right. We ordered the pod code red version. There we go. We'll see how that rolls. All right. Now he's in trouble. I want a surprise observation if it's like a 2-hour delay, right when the kids get started. That's what we need in JG's room. All right, man. Well, listen.
He should be live.
Mandatory. I want her observing his virtual classroom. That's what I want. All right. We'll fill our guest in on all those antics later. So, all right, but it's all good stuff. So I hear, even though it's been a crazy week, I think it's still Tuesday.
It is. Yeah, wait. Yeah, Tuesday.
And
I'm all discombobulated.
And what is it like? We already had a pod the first. Last week was the second, so I guess it's the third. So it's probably time for
the PAECT pod.
Let's roll it. Welcome to the PAECT Pod, a show for educators by educators. PAECT is a 100% volunteer-run organization that focuses on education technology integrations in the classroom in Pennsylvania
and beyond.
My name is Eric Verno, and I am the president of PAECT. And with me, as always, is my co-host,
Dom Salvucci. I'm the vice president of PAECT.
So today we are on episode 71, and we'll be talking about Cleartouch, getting clarity with Cleartouch. Yeah. So we got one of our great sponsors that we've been working with. I know some people may remember last P&C, last February, the mini keys that were going on, the little stage that we had set up at our booth, being able to feature the interactivity and the things that the boards provide. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those boards in my classroom. Do you, Dom?
No, we have a different brand.
Yeah.
I do not handle the purchasing in a district, but we have a different brand.
But I think it's important for us, as always, we have a key to success. And the key to success is when we want to really make a podcast sound great, we make sure to
bring in a guest and wear our glasses.
And the guest is usually smarter than
us.
So I think it's time for us to pull in our guest for the show. What do you think?
Definitely.
All right, here we go. All right, we'll let you do the intros, Dom.
I wanted to introduce Chelsea Bryan. She is from Cleartouch, Northeast Training Specialist. We had a conversation last week, prepping for this, and great to have you on.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen. I am super excited to be here. Yes, I am the Northeast Training Specialist here for Cleartouch on our professional services team. So pleasure to be here with you guys.
Yeah, great. Yeah, good to have you. You did make it through the screening because we didn't talk about your preferred football team before, but let's get it out of the way. Where do your loyalties lie?
All right. I think you're going to have some upset viewers here, but I do live in Pennsylvania. So our company is based out of South Carolina. But for my PA football folks, I actually am not a sports fan. Half of my family loves the Steelers. Half of my family loves the Bills. I'm very close to Buffalo, New York. And all I really care about is who brought the snacks. Let's be real. Who brought the snacks? So I unfortunately cannot participate in your football discussion today, guys.
That's acceptable. That's acceptable.
Well, but if she had to choose between, what is it? Is the spicy, what is it, the Western PA thing, Dom, that you guys would have?
Buffalo.
Remember, we always make it
Buffalo chicken.
No, if she had, well, she would
hot
choose
pepper cheese balls.
Hot pepper cheese balls, buffalo chicken dip, or a cream cheese based snack, because that's out of Philadelphia. Where would we lie with that?
I'd probably have to go buffalo chicken dip. I'm gonna be real.
There you go. Yeah. She's a Buffalo fan. Let's just be honest. Okay, we'll call it the way it is. Well, all right. So you heard it here first.
Because you're virtual, we got you the virtual M&Ms from back in the green room.
Thank you.
I know. Sugar free, substance free, everything free. He slacks on his job. He's supposed to take care of our guests. All right, so let's get on the serious roll. Oh yeah, we're gonna have good snacks discussions going on in the background. That's why we always love leading people astray. All right, so you're here with Cleartouch. Give us a background, because we were chatting a little bit. So you didn't just start out working with Cleartouch. Where did your talent base start?
Yeah, so I am a former educator here in Pennsylvania. I went to college at Clarion, which is now like Penn West, I think it is. Yes. But I have my background in elementary education, so pre-K through fourth. That's what I'm certified in. I taught for about 8 years. I'd probably have to do some math. But a year and a half ago, I did leave education teaching, but I joined it in a different way. I'm now the Northeast Training Specialist for Cleartouch. So my job is to go into districts, go into corporate companies, because we're literally everywhere. We're in law offices, hospitals, like everywhere, colleges. I go in and I provide professional services, right? So I am a trainer. I train mostly, but we do a lot of other things besides just training, right? So it's called the Cleartouch Academy. We created self-paced courses, assessments for that. We're creating videos. We are on TikTok now for Teacher Tip Tuesday.
Oh, man.
Nice.
PD, Cleartouch PD. But we are more than just trainers. So that's why I mentioned professional services. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and kind of how I got into this field. Being a former educator definitely helped me. Our full PD team here is former educators. So not just me, but, we got Billy Jack in Florida. We got Kia in South Carolina. We're all over and we're all former educators. So we truly get professional development and we truly get the need for interactive technology. So a little bit of spiel for you.
Cool. That's awesome. We are a big fan of that, and having, former educators in to talk about how to use it and, the realities of here's how it goes, and, talk about the pitfalls and things like that can happen. And that's good stuff. I
start all of my sessions saying, I am a former educator, and I'm telling you this because I'm not a sales guy. Like, I'm not here trying to get you to buy into anything. I'm realistic. I've been in your shoes. I understand you don't have time. I get that you have a million other things on your plate. And I think that's what really sets our professional services apart, is because we're former educators and we do get it.
That's awesome.
It's good. Yeah. And you have the background as coming from education. You understand some of the questions probably ahead of time that are going to be asked because you've been, you know, how does this work with the kids? What are potential pitfalls or, perks with this? How does it work well with the children?
Absolutely. And that's kind of also where the professional services comes into play too, because we work with districts to really create a technology plan, to really focus on how are we going to take this technology that you just invested in and build up that support in your community, in your districts, in your schools. And so some of that knowledge, like you were asking about, Dom, that we can expect because we were former educators. So it all helps and it all wraps it up into a pretty bow.
Very nice.
That is. That's key. It is, talking to someone who is, been in the classroom when you're trying to learn these things, because then they have that background and they can kind of, see things the same way you do or close to it.
Absolutely. And we have like a whole set of, different skill sets that our team members have. So for example, I'm really great with conferences. We talked about P&C. I'm presenting more at conferences. We have a team that's very tech savvy and they're working with some Google aspects, spreadsheets. So we all kind of have our skill set. And I think that's important too, that, we're all our own individual people, but bringing a common goal with this education and with this technology.
Well, I mean, a skill in and of itself is making spreadsheets interesting, right?
Right. Yeah. I need to get you guys in contact with my colleague, Sam. He is the spreadsheet guru. Staring at those, I need some of your glasses. Oh. Can I borrow your glasses?
Take care of you. We'll send them out. Send them out.
That's what you guys
That's right.
We'll make them smarter.
That's it. Yep. Hey, I'm good with spreadsheets. And you mentioned pivot tables, and I just crumble like, hey, I don't know. Let's go to ChatGPT to set it up for me. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, so you mentioned unfortunately won't be at P&C this year, but you'll have other members of the team will be there, right?
Yep, I unfortunately am already booked for an on-site customer for some training, but our PD manager, Sarah Lowy, will be there. So check her out, the Cleartouch booth, amazing. We'll actually have, I don't know if you can see it behind me. This is our A+ panel. It's currently off right now, but we will probably have that there along with our student engagement software to invite you all up and get your hands a little dirty playing on the panel,
Nice. Yeah. It's nice when you go to and you get to actually work with the equipment while you're at these different conferences and such.
Yes, that's important to us too, to actually provide like real life right here in front of your face. This is what it looks like. This is how you interact with it. Oh, you're already a customer? That's okay. Let me show you some cool new updates that we got going on. So we like to have that live right there for us.
Yeah, that's good product placement, by the way. Impressive. Very good. It's been like staring at me. I'm like, oh man, one of those behind us, Tom, that would look good. We got to talk to him about that. We have some fun with that behind us. That's good. Some chalk talk. We'll get in. We'll really get into the football talk.
We can do like the telestrator. X's, O's, circles, little routes.
Yeah, write your notes. Write your notes for the cast. Yeah, absolutely.
I sat in on the PD session you guys ran for PAECT, and it was nice. Unfortunately, like I said, we have a different board, and I would have to subscribe to get your software. But it was knowledgeable, a lot of information. Didn't get the NV green going in me. Because I was looking, I'm like, I can do some of those things, but I can't do all of that, with the board that I have.
Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Dom.
That's okay.
I was just going to say our student engagement blows my mind. As an elementary school teacher, I make learning fun. That's just me. That's my personality. The type of environment I have. School should be fun. Learning should be fun. And so I was so, I want to say, relieved, I guess, when I found our company in this software, because it is so amazing. And I'm not even capping you. We were talking about slang earlier. When I say that this software here changes the game for students, changes the game for teachers. I'm going to share my screen here in just a few minutes. But that would be a great, oh, sorry, I'm reading some of the comments. But with our student engagement software, you have what we call lesson activities. So think of gamified learning, where teachers can create these games. So there's something called the community, and that's the library of these games. So Chelsea from Pennsylvania can create the game. Billy Jack from Florida can create the game. Anybody who has access to the platform can create games, including students. And that's what I like to press, right? Students need some interactivity. They need some STEM in their lives. Instead of a boring 10-page essay or a 10-page quiz, test their knowledge in a different way. Let them create something. Let them, use their hands, use their brain. And that's what I love about this Chorus Online platform, is that students can be the creators too, along with teachers. There's a lot of other cool features in it too, but I think the lessons activities and that student creator aspect blows my mind.
That's the important part. Ever since, we went back to being, back to my days as a classroom for the future coach, to get the kids up to the board was the goal, to get them up out of their seats and actually manipulating the boards when we had the old school interactive whiteboards. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes it's hard to get the kids to get up there.
Oh, 100%.
Even when you give them the opportunity, because they don't like being in front of the class, some of them.
Yep. That brings me to a really great point, Dom. So with this Chorus Online platform, they can work from their seats. So you can send these activities to their personal student devices, their laptops, their Chromebooks, whatever. So think maybe early finishers. So if teachers have any early finishers, if they want to do as an assessment or a team project, they could do it that way. So to your point, Dom, it's hard sometimes bringing students up to the panel when they just want to stay in their safe space there, right? So this platform allows students to stay in that safe place. And it also sparks a little bit. We have another software piece called Collage, and that is screen mirroring wirelessly. So that also allows students to still collaborate, still take charge of their learning in a sense, but from their safe space where they're comfortable, where they're not being judged in front of everybody. So yeah.
Very cool. Now the collage, is that the way you said it? Is that from their device they can stream to the Cleartouch board?
It is. Yep. So
and is that platform agnostic kind of a deal, whether it's a Chromebook or an iPad or a Mac or a PC?
It is. It's very agnostic. So for our Chromebooks, we have a built-in webcast feature. So they don't even need an app. They can just go to a URL. There's a code on the panel, and they'll just enter that code, and it's very simple. But what I love about Collage is not only can students mirror to the panel, you can have multiple students at one time. So depending on the student device, Chromebooks, just because of the functionality, you can only do 4. But other devices, you can actually do up to 9. So think about from your middle school and high school perspective. I just know when I taught 3rd grade, I was starting to implement oral presentations, which they loved, but it was a hassle. I'd have to unplug my computer. Oh, hold on a second. Miss Brian needs to log out of this. Let me grab so-and-so's computer. And so Collage not only saves time, but it just allows for that collaboration aspect in the classroom from their safe space.
That's nice. Yeah, we have, so in our district, we have the Microsoft. At the time, they were the Surface wireless connectors, one of the, just more inexpensive varieties. But the problem is with our Chromebooks, the kids can't stream to it. So it's literally a long HDMI cable, but then you have to make sure you get a Chromebook that has an HDMI port, which they're getting fewer and fewer, all that jazz. So that ability to kind of sync to it. And that's why I was kind of curious about the platform, aspect of it, because that, having that flexibility is huge. So you may look at it and say, yeah, I'm going to pay more than I'm paying for a a casting device, but it's everything rolled into one with the interactivity, the software you're going to talk about here in a little bit, all the things you can do on the board, and that ability to wireless, and that's huge. And even get them to the point where they're creating, you're hitting that higher level of SAMR, you're driving it up. And not only that, that's just more excitement. If I can model something I made, or I can put this up there and the kids are going to do whatever the activity is, like that just, I know, especially in 6th grade, that gets the kids get very excited, very fired up. Dom, you're hitting a different level, but I think with some of your kids, that definitely would get them very excited to use those features as well. So yeah, that's awesome.
And 100%. You're not wasting time, come up here, log in to this device, or pass the cable over, make sure everything works. So that seamlessness, you're not wasting time. You don't have as much downtime and, losing the kids in between because everyone's waiting. Something doesn't work right on the connection. So being able to be as seamless as that is a major bonus.
Another bonus of collage, gentlemen, is not only can you take what's on the devices and cast it to the panel, you can do it reverse. So you can take what's on the panel and send it to devices. So for an example, I was working with a special education teacher not that long ago, and she said, Chelsea, I'm trying to teach them a little bit more about taking notes, but they're having difficulty trying to take notes on their paper, and they're going up and down, they're getting lost. Is there any way that I can get what's on the panel here right beside them on their iPad? I said, yeah, let me show you desktop sync. So we took what was on the panel, her note taking, and it casted to that student's iPad. So the student, instead of going up and down trying to take notes from the panel back to the paper, they had it right there at their seat to kind of take away some distractions.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's a nice feature. Yeah, it's funny you said that. I was just telling the kids we were doing a little bit with outlining and pulling it into our science class, and I gave them the story about how the first classroom I went into had 4 walls. It was a big square room of chalkboard, and I said, like, on my team, I'm the only teacher that taught every subject in 6th grade since I've been there. And I said, yeah, when I used to teach the geography, like we used to hammer it, of course, back in the day, and they're like, using chalkboards. I'm like, yeah, it was either that or the stone tablets right next to my dinosaur Dino, who would take care of stuff. But, and I said, we literally would go like 1 wall, 2 walls, 3 walls, 4 walls of like outlining notes. And the kids were like writing it down. I'm like, how you're able to do it now with Google Docs, sharing the different things, like talk about now, go from a chalkboard scenario to like desktop sync. Now it's right in front of them, side by side. They're able to pull their stuff in. Like, it's awesome when you think about it. It's really cool. Really cool where tech takes you.
Our creators, everybody at the Cleartouch company is just fantastic. I cannot stress that enough. I mean, everyone is. So shout out Keone and Tamra, our owners, for creating these amazing features. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely. Yeah. I definitely think we have to make sure, if we're fortunate enough to work with Cleartouch again with our mini keys, that we build in, like, I think that like the collage piece and that desktop sync, we got to work with our
presenters.
I'm a blanket, but yeah, Patty, as far as working with our presenters that are coming on, or even just have some stuff that's kind of packaged where while people are going by, I really think those are some 2 features that could really get people's attention with the ability to do that. So then, not to get too geeky on the whole share aspect, I guess you just have to make sure you're on the same Wi-Fi network.
Yep, you do. Yep.
That would be the big thing, making sure they're on the Pete and C Wi-Fi network. But other than that's really cool. I like it.
I love the not to get too geeky.
Hey, so what IP address are we looking at? Do we need to unblock anything? Yeah, that's funny. Good stuff. All right.
Not to jump back to student engagement.
Oh, wait, we got a little nugget here real quick. You want to show that one, Dom? We got a little secret in the background. They threw a hotspot.
Oh, yes. That's our Cleartouch media manager, Sarah Lowy. Yes, you will see her at Pete and C. She will be there. So give her a shout out. Go say hey.
Yeah, and then for those of you who aren't sure, it's not a dance move. It's not a new TikTok craze. Brendan, I'm looking at you. It's, the hotspot to be able to get on the Wi-Fi. So everybody's on the same hotspot. Everybody's on the same Wi-Fi. All right. I like it. Okay. Now we're good. We hit all of our generational brackets with that knowledge. Okay. Continue, Chelsea. Go ahead, as you were.
Thank you. I was just going to mention, so I want to go back to a little bit of student engagement. So we have a really awesome software. I think we've already mentioned it a little bit, Chorus. So it is a desktop software that you can have on PCs, Windows devices, but it also comes with a online component, Chorus Online. So I would love to share my screen with you all. Thank you.
You are there.
Here I am. So here is a kind of a live little demo on Chorus Online. So the community where I'm at right now, this is just our library full of interactive games here. So if I were to search, let's just search addition. It's going to load and it's going to pull up some addition games that are available for us to play. So again, anybody that has access to our panels and our softwares can create these games. So we have members of our team creating games, as well as Nui Tech creating games, as well as teachers all over the world. Students all over can create these games. So you have your search box here, as well as some filters to kind of separate. Right here, these are just different types of games. So there are many types to keep our students engaged, active, ready to participate. And that's just a little bit about these lessons activities. You can send these. Whoops, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Quick question. So if I had a Cleartouch board, I make the game, does it automatically share or do I have to upload it to?
No, it doesn't automatically share. It will just stay in your personal My Lessons activity folder. And then if you would like to share it, you would upload it to the community. So those 3 dots right here, when you create a game yourself, there will be an option here that will say upload to the community.
Okay. And the reason why I bring that up is, yesterday at the conference, I did a presentation on advocating. And that was one of the things that we've talked about with some of our other guests. Teachers sometimes have that imposter syndrome and they're not quite open to sharing. So just for those people that are a little bit reserved, there is a step. So you could make something, but it's not going to go public unless you want it to be. But it doesn't hurt to make it public and get feedback on it.
We actually, so when you do choose to upload to the community, you have the option to upload unlisted. So technically it's out there, but nobody is going to find it. And the reason teachers might want to do this, one, for that little imposter syndrome that is real, people out there. But 2, once you upload it unlisted, you can click and there'll actually be a link here where you can easily send that to maybe the other 3rd grade teachers on your team. Hey, I just found this really awesome educational addition game here on Chorus Online. Here's the link to it. I just created it. So also an easy way there. But teachers do not have to upload it to the community for everybody to share if they don't want to.
Yeah, ever since kindergarten, Dom's been told he doesn't share well with others, so that would probably be the feature he would choose.
Yeah.
So here, when you click on the snowman,
it's not real M&Ms, they're only virtual.
He's got them all. All right, our whole budget goes to his M&Ms. If you click on the 3 dots, I call it the snowman. Just wanted to ask you a question real quick. When you clicked it, one of the options there was share with students.
Yes.
Right. Yep. And so, what the students have to log in? How does that work?
Like? Yep. So over here in your class, this is where you would create a class. So you will click it. I'll actually show you quickly. So you click it, you can create a new class for Google Classroom. You can upload.
There we go.
You could also do that. And then that's going to create a student account for you. So then back from the community, actually, let's go back here to my lesson activities and we'll grab a game and I'll show you what that looks like sending it to students. So we got my 3 lines. We're going to click send to students. And then I can select a class. So I'm going to select Chelsea's main practice class here. If it's gradable, meaning I want to send this to my students, I want to get feedback, I want to get data, I can select that gradable assignment and then change my slider here depending on my students' needs. I can select either all of my class or, you know what, maybe Carly here, she has an IEP, a 504. I need to make some accommodations. This one is specifically for Carly. and I can send it to her. So when I send the assignment, the student will get a notification on their end. You see the little bell right here in my top right corner? They'll get a notification. Hey, Miss Bryan just sent you a new lesson activity to complete. And then they can open it up and they can complete it. But what I love about after that is actually the data that you can get. So I'm taking you in here to one of my fake classes so you can actually see what that looks like from the teacher's end. So I'm in here. These are all the different assignments that I've sent my fake classes. I get a little bit of insight. If I click on the actual assignment name, though, it's going to give me more information. So I'll see a little thumbnail of what the activity was. I'll see some data. Here's my pie chart. And if I scroll down, I will see my students, the time, the score, and then I have options to give feedback. If I want to know even more data, I can click on that student name, and it's going to break down their questions so that I can see their answers, see what they need to work on, kind of get a little better insight on, their thought process. Just do they understand what I'm talking about? Maybe I need to reteach it, right? So I can take a look at that data, and then I can send feedback. I can send a voice recording. I can do a video feedback, or I can send a message, and that feedback will be sent to that student device.
Okay. A quick question for you.
Yep.
So Bill of Rights quiz, social studies teacher. I want to send it to Eric. He's an honor student. Dom has a 504 and IEP. You have another student. Do I have to make copies to make the adjustments?
Good question.
And go from there, or how does that work?
How does that work? Good question, Dom. So when I am in my course online, as soon as I play a game from the community, as soon as I press play, it takes a copy and puts it here into this My Lessons activity folder. So these lesson activities that you're about to see under here, these are all games that I have previously played. So I'm actually not necessarily playing that original copy, because now I have the option to come in here with the 3 lines and I can duplicate it. So see that duplicate button? Okay. That's where you would duplicate it so that, Carly with an IEP, a 504, or here, Chelsea over here, she needs a little bit advanced material. That's where you can do those editings for your students to really meet them where they are.
Nice. And they all get the same title, but it's adapted to the student. So there's not that you're getting a separate, something totally different than the other student. Everyone sees that what that student's getting is different from what they have.
Correct. My advice, though, would to be change the title a little bit, just so that you know which one is going to who when you send it. But yes.
Yeah.
I always do the different form, just label it a different form or version. So you're not having people stick out. And sometimes, because sometimes my students listen to this, sometimes they don't. Sometimes I just put a different form on the top of the paper just to throw them off, and they don't know if they're getting the same thing or different than someone else.
I remember that in high school, getting like a 1, or I think maybe it was an A, B, C, and some people would have an A test, someone would have a B, I get that. 100%. So there's also some other cool features on Course Online. Do you mind if I jump in and tell everybody about it really quick?
Go ahead. No, go. Yeah.
So there's also lessons activities here, which we just discussed, but there's a couple other really great features too. There is something called polls. So polls is a live survey situation that you can do for knowledge checks. You can do for emotional check-ins. Polls is designed to be anonymous unless teachers download the data. So I would really love to use polls in my classroom, just for the fact that I liked creating that sense of community, as you should as a teacher, creating that family energy in the classroom that, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Everybody has a shot to answer the question, and we're not going to belittle anybody because of that. And I like polls because it's anonymous unless you download the data afterwards. So that's a little bit about polls. Symphony Whiteboard here is actually a new feature, or a newer feature here within Chorus Online. So I am just going to create a sample here so you guys can get a little insight on what that looks like. But it is a interactive whiteboard. So teachers can use this to bring in existing content. So here's my media button. I can bring in content from the OneDrive, from my Google Drive. The content gallery is something that we just give teachers. So for example, there is some graphic organizers here that are useful. So let's see, there is an art one for my art teachers. I might bring this in, but just bringing in content and making it so engaging for your students is really going to get them up, get them active, and want them to be a part of their learning. So here in this Symphony space, you can bring in your existing content. This WW feature allows you to bring in web pages, so embed web pages, embed YouTube, which it is ad-free and comment-free. Sometimes you don't know what's going to pop up on those YouTube commercials when you're about to show it to your class. So I like that feature. PhET simulations you can bring in as well. Here in this additional tools, this is where you can add some fun and change the background color. Maybe you want to add some lines for writing or some grids. Maybe you're doing an area and perimeter situation and you want students to find the area and perimeter of something you drew here on the grids. You could do that. Awesome interactive tools here. But one thing that is newer that I do want to mention, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, I think, Dom, about Google Docs. You were talking a little bit about Google Docs. And I like to say that Symphony has the ability, just like Google Docs, to have that live collaboration. However, teachers have a little bit more control over who is editing the document and when they're editing the document. So here in my 3-line menu, I have the ability to share for collaboration with students. So I can share this to my class and then they will get it and just be able to view it. But what you don't see, there's actually going to be a little icon that will appear over here. I'm drawing a little stick figure for you. It'll be a person. And once you share the collaboration with your class, you will be able to click the little person down here and grant them access to edit the page with you. So if you're teaching from direct instruction, maybe you're doing math, multiplication, different ways to solve multiplication. Maybe you have Chelsea sharing and collaborating on this doc, showing how to solve it in an array. Then maybe you have Dom collaborating on this doc, showing how to solve it using a number line, right? So just the collaboration feature with the Symphony whiteboard is chef's kiss. It's amazing.
So you could then like make these ahead of time and push them out. Like can you make multiple copies? Like I make one and then do the copies and then like 6 periods a day, each start fresh with each class.
Yeah.
Save the existing work.
Keep that clean copy and then just do it for each additional class. Absolutely. Yep.
Nice.
Awesome. Do you guys have any questions for me about Chorus Online?
So I didn't have necessarily for the course. I had for the lesson activities when you were working with it. I want you to keep with your flow, but I'll go back. So when you set up the game or the thing that you're going to push out to the kids, async versus synchronous, are you able to do, is it all async? You set it shoots them, they do it on their own, or are you able to do it as a large class together? And if you said that I missed it, I apologize.
No, that's okay. So you do have some flexibility. You can send it to everybody and then everybody at their seat, you know what, you're completing it on your own. I've also seen teachers do it that way, except say, Chelsea, Dom, Eric, I'm going to pull you for small group and we're going to play that same game up here on my panel. So I've seen it a little bit of both ways. And unfortunately, I don't have the Chorus software to actually show you right now, but that on the panel allows you to split your screen into individual zones so that for that small group purpose, you could put one of these games in each of those zones and then have students come up for a small group or for a center.
Okay. Then the other question I had was, so you push it out to the students and their work on taking it. Sometimes when I push something out, different thing, just all the different things that you give. You might give them like, hey, listen, we want you to achieve at least a certain goal, like, not necessarily like push until like 100% mastery, but to like 80%, you're kind of, comfortable with the content kind of a thing. Do you have the ability to say that they can do it more than once if they wanted to redo?
So there are certain lesson activity games that are considered practice. Or do you remember where I checked that gradable assignment there?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, but if you do not check that gradable check mark, or if you use the practice games, the students can then just repeat it as long as they want. Yep.
Okay. But do you get the data? Well, yeah, it does. But like to go for, if you don't check it as graded, do you still get the data from the students what their answers were?
You only get the data from the gradable assessments.
Graded.
Yeah.
And now the practice, would you get it from the practice or no?
If it's great, if only the gradable assignments will you get that feedback. So if it's just the practice one, you're not going to get that feedback for the practice. Well, now, could you do it? Whoops, sorry.
Students see, like when they complete a 1 unit of practice, whenever they complete the activity, would they get a score on their screen?
Sometimes it's not necessarily a score. It's more just like feedback or like check marks. So a lot of these activities give instant feedback, which I do like. So the students don't have to wait until the very end to realize, oh, I was doing that all wrong. Right. So a lot of these
go ahead.
A lot of these give that instant feedback so that students, as soon as they see and a giant X on their screen, they know I better rethink this. I might be doing something wrong. So that instant feedback is kind of throughout.
So they could at the end, technically, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, Chelsea, but they could at the end take a screenshot of the feedback at the end of their practice round, and you could use that. They could send it to you, and then they can go back and do it again and compare it.
Yep, absolutely.
The workaround with it.
Sure. I've also seen teachers use them. I mentioned small group at their panel, right? But the teachers having specific lesson activities that they do. So for example, 3rd grade, it's a lot of multiplication. We are pushing multiplication. So a teacher might have multiplications for a small group at the panel and just keep track of that data as well, just so that they're seeing from month to month, okay, they got the 3s down, they got the 4s, they got the 5s, and so on.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just going to say, like, for all your engineers in the back end listening to this, just under that graded assignment, if I could put allow a retake, at least just one, like that could be a cool feature, I think.
That is really good feedback.
All right. Hey, there you go. All right. Try to slip it in there. But no, you're right, Bob. You could do a screenshot. You could even share that, like the assignments in Google Classroom. If it pushes out, the kids take a screenshot, they attach it right into the assignment, they push it in. It's just sometimes nice to have it in that one-stop shop. If I'm using Chorus, I'm trying to do a lot of things through the program, right? Having all that data there. Now, if Dom and Eric are in the class and we've done several different activities, each of them are graded, is there a spot where, like in the actual assignment, when you clicked on the student's name, you saw their data for that? Mm-hmm. But is there a spot in my classroom, if I click on, Eric's name, I can see, oh, he did this first one that I assigned. He didn't do the second or the third one. He didn't do the fourth one. Is there a spot where you see a collective of the different things, or is it just individual activity based?
So it is individual activity based. However, you can see if a student opened it or did not open it. So if I go back here into my main practice class and I pick on the Bill of Rights quiz here, and I come on down, see how it says opened underneath Carly Connor's page? If a student did not complete the activity, it would just say open, and I wouldn't have any data for it. So that would be me saying, okay, I need to go check on Johnny over here. He hasn't opened any assignments that I sent this week. Maybe if you're doing it virtually as well, I know you were talking about your virtual days earlier, but this online platform is also a great resource for those virtual days. And so this gives you a little bit of insight to, are my students completing the work that I send them when they're at home?
And your export results, where's the export go? Sorry, Dom.
That's okay.
The export results, that's going to come as a CSV to me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Comma separated value there, Dom.
The curtain here. I'm having technical issues. There's some comments coming up, but I cannot push them out. My
Oh,
whole behind the screen side screen is frozen up. But Kelsey Wilcox Boyles said, "Hi, Chelsea. Love seeing you smile." Mary Gruber had a question about the data report. It's on the screen now. Do you get a data report for graded assignments?
Yep,
By student, or is a whole class summary, or both?
Yep. Sarah Lowy, I saw mentioned Mary in the comment, and she said, Mary, you can export data from the selected students per activity. The data also holds in student accounts for goal setting and tracking.
okay.
Missy loved the gallery of tools.
Thank
the
you,
interactive
Missy.
whiteboard.
Hi, Kelsey.
Had to do it. I know you mentioned her. All right, we got, and then there was this one, and I guess you referenced that, right? Yeah, the data. Okay.
Yep, that's the one.
And you got to thank you. Got you. All
and
right.
there's a comment here from JG that said he's not really a Bills fan. It's just peer pressure from where he lives, but I can't find the comment. But I wanted that on record.
Got lost.
Okay,
Got lost.
JG.
All right. Okay. All right. Pop observation coming up. Don't worry, JG. All right, cool. So we looked at we got our interactives, we've got our symphony whiteboard, and I guess Missy's comment was the gallery of tools for the interactive whiteboard.
Yeah.
So I see this thing called AI Assistant on my screen. What all we got going on with AI? I mean, we don't really talk about AI at PAECT. We've only done like 17 book studies, but tell us about this.
I'm actually glad you brought it up. This was one of the areas I wanted to bring up, but I wasn't sure if I still had enough time to talk about it. So I'm glad.
Hey, it's your show. We're just living in it. Keep going.
Yeah. It is. Well, see you guys next week.
There you
Thank
go.
you. No. So the AI assistant is also a newer feature here with Chorus Online. So you have a couple options. You can build a complete lesson, or you can build just like one of those lesson activities. So for example, over here, this exploring point of view in literature, I built this whole lesson in a symphony whiteboard in probably like 3 minutes. I took a standard. So I had actually a session earlier today, and I took one of their standards for 3rd grade, and I just said, create me a lesson for this. And so then it gives you a couple different options here. So it always starts with a reading. It's going to give you a reading. It's going to give you a video. It's also going to provide you some sort of game and some sort of challenge, and then a quiz is at the end as well. So that's what it created. And then it lets me view them before I say create the symphony. So for example, this is one of the readings. Now it does look a little bland, but you should know I edited it to make it a little less advanced. I was gearing this lesson towards elementary students, and the verbiage and the vocabulary in here, it was just a little bit too high. So you can change the wording, the vocabulary a bit. And it also had some templates in there that were just not appropriate for 3rd grade. So I did take that out, but you have ability to customize it. That's my point. So here's the reading. Here is the video that it's going to it's probably going to play, provide the 2 different games and the assessment. So it's going to create it in that symphony whiteboard space. So if I go ahead and open up that whiteboard, you're going to see here that full lesson that it created for me. So page 1, it's going to start with that reading. If I wanted to print this out and have students reading it at their seat while somebody else is up here underlining as they read it.
Real quick. Apology there, Chelsea. So if it opened up to a new window, we're not seeing the new window.
Yeah.
Okay. It definitely did open up to a new window.
So if it's on another screen, if you want to just share that screen, then maybe when it pops open, we'd be able to see it.
Give me 1 second. Okay. Gentlemen, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It sounded like it was going to be good.
It is good. It is good. I'm going to head back here to my symphony whiteboards, and it should also be here. Can you currently see my screen?
Yep, that's coming up now. Yep, there we go.
Okay,
nice.
Awesome. So that first page, here's the reading. So like I was saying, you could print it out and have students reading at their seat, and also take turns bringing students up to the panel and maybe underlining as they're reading. So you're practicing your fluency. Here is on the next page, that video that I mentioned it created. You have your interactive game that it created for you. And then you have some sort of challenge. So this is another like a rewrite challenge where they would drag and drop and then they could write a story about it afterwards. And then you have a quiz at the end there, gentlemen. So just to show you, like that AI created it all for me. I just put in the standard and said, please create me a lesson based off this standard.
Now, if I could ask you a clarifying question, the video you referenced create it for you. What do we mean by create it for you?
So it's just through AI. Like it wasn't specifically created for me. It's honestly probably a YouTube video that AI have pulled from it. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna be like, wow, that fast. It's like actually making a whole video because there's stuff out there. I mean, you never know. You never know. Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Now I know sometimes, is there like sources cited? There's there a spot where a teacher could see where some things are pulled from if they're sometimes the lesson plans are asked to show that, or does it not necessarily have that right now?
So it depends on who created the game, right? So if I created the game, I can actually add those standards. I can add a description. I can add specific things into that description, but it's optional. So not everybody has to put those in there. Not everybody has to align it with standards. Yep.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's good stuff. There's a lot of neat stuff.
I created it. I say thank you like I created it, but I did not. But I'm sure the owners very much appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. A lot of go ahead, Dom.
The ability to be able to do that and you know, time saving that quickly pull up information. You can, you know, create the lesson, you can adjust it, you could adapt it for, you know, the individualization for students. It's just, it's fantastic the amount of time that can save you, and it's interactive.
100%, Dom. And it's really great with the AI too, because you can kind of communicate back with it. So for example, if I didn't like the type of game that it gave me, I could say, please change this to a tags lesson game, right? So you can kind of have that communicative ability with that AI feature as well.
Awesome stuff. That is awesome. Because I mean, there's the reality of technology, right? What helps you tech wise for the students, but then the one that we often overlook is what technology is out there that helps the teacher, right? And that's what Dom said, like cutting down that time, being able to put in whether it's a standard, whether it's a question, you know, whatever the scenario is, having it pull those different resources. I can pick and choose what I'm going to do. It's not always a video in a game. Sometimes it's a game. Sometimes it's the handout. Like just that the ability to then, you know, cater it to what you need at that point. That's awesome. So that's huge. That's really cool. It's all built in, and then it's all built in. It's interactive because that's what the panel is. So you're able to use it there, and that's really good. That's good stuff.
This is like sometimes an unpopular, you know, statement, but it's a truth, and it's come up in several conversations. You know, we do all this stuff so we can look at the results of the students, look at the data, and analyze it so we can help the students. But where do you find the time? So if you can use this to create things quicker, that gives you the time on the back end. You're saving to, okay, I have this. It's, you know, it's there for me to look at, and you can adjust it and you can use it versus you're spending time creating stuff and you have results, but I'm not going to do it till an in-service day or a FID day or, you know, you're taking a mental health day. Like, well, I'm going to look through some of this stuff, but if you're taking a mental health day, you're probably not looking through student scores. You know, you have a couple ACT 80 days, but they're not normally when there's usually something scheduled for you. So by saving time on the front end, you can use that time to actually use the data you're gathering.
And speaking of like saving time, Dom, what I love about this too is it's not, I mean, yes, it's created so teachers can create these symphony whiteboards that are amazing, but it also works with your existing content. So you can bring in PDFs here. You can use that www feature to go to your OneDrive or go to your Google Drive. Like, we understand that you change jobs, that you change school districts, and you might not be using the same technology at one district that you did at the other. So having the ability to bring in your existing content too, I think is a game changer for teachers and their time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And Mary Gruber has a comment. Yes, aggregating data does take so much time. There it is. She loves platforms to take care of that for her.
Thanks, Mary.
All right. Well, I think just the final thing that we have to say is I want one, and the podcast studio could really use a board. We'll set that up. We'll have Dom and I will do joint custody. We'll figure it out. So anyway, and we'll get a strap. We might have to leave PNC with one on our back. Dom, we'll figure it out.
Now this is awesome. Missing, I'm coming for you too. If one goes missing, I know it was you two.
This is not the podcast host who stole your Cleartouch that you're looking at. Yeah. All right. We get some laughter, of course, but I'm pretty sure that's nervous laughter coming from Sarah. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I can sense her LOLs are typed in real fast. But no, that's awesome. Oh, hey, oof. Well, see, no. See, okay, Mary, you don't go to this question. It's how heavy is it to fit on my back? But she's curious about cost. But I would definitely say you could check with them at Pete and C. But if there's anything you want to share, Chelsea, you got it.
I was going to say, Mary, you should probably check with him at P&C. So I am not really involved in that sales aspect. I don't talk numbers. That is the sales gentleman. So definitely reach out. George, his name is George. You'll find him at P&C. He will be the guy to talk to, Mary.
Yeah. And Sarah, if one of these is in the back of my truck, because that means Eric's vehicle is full and I'm doing him a favor.
That's it. We can't talk numbers, but dimensions. Let's figure out dimensions.
We talk two.
Two. It's a BOGO.
Three.
All right. All good.
Three that way. You go one for my classroom.
We need one for the suite. We'll take care of it. Okay. All right. Here we go. We got up. Yeah. I have one in a Cleartouch van. All right. So we'll give you the address to have it delivered to shortly. Thank you, Sarah. All right. Okay. Unofficially official. All right. This has been awesome. Yes. We truly appreciate you sharing your time, your wisdom, your knowledge. But we gotta close out the Cleartouch portion. So that's what we'll cut out for the commercial that I'll be sharing with my tech director tomorrow immediately. All right. Now, the most important podcast questions you'll ever receive in your life. Go ahead, Dom.
Yes. And just to be clear, I did clue her in that there are two questions that must be answered by every guest. The first is, what is your educational superpower?
All right. I prepared, gentlemen, because I was a little bit nervous when you first told me, Dom, there are two mandatory questions. So I did a little preparing. But I would say my educational superpower is definitely the ability to create a welcoming environment, right? So whether that's with adults, even now, like in my trainings, I'm still teaching, it's still educational, and I create that sense of environment where they can ask questions, they can have fun, they can be silly. And that's what I did teaching as well in my classroom. I was the teacher known for the dance parties, known for the loud music, and just creating that welcoming environment where my students feel safe and they know that I'm a trusted adult and I'm there for you. It goes so far. I mean, you guys know, you guys are both educators, so that would be my teaching superpower.
Cool. And the big one, if you could have any superpower from comic book universes, movie universes, television, science fiction books, or something that we haven't thought up yet, what would it be?
I would like to become Harry Potter. I was trying to think of like a good way to say I want some like witchy magic, and I'm like, okay, Harry Potter, call me Hermione Granger. Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. All right. She's the first one to have her own props. That's the first person ever. That's the first person ever. She's getting accolades like crazy. We got that. All right, great job.
No, thank you guys.
All right. This was great. All right, good stuff. But yes, the Harry Potter. So all future podcast guests, the bar has just been set.
Yes.
The bar has just been set. That is amazing. So unfortunately, you can't see Chelsea's wand at Pete and C, but there will be Cleartouch there. They'll be in their booth. Hopefully we'll have one to show you at our booth, and working, closely. If you got any questions, reach out to the pod, as Cleartouch is one of our sponsors, our corporate sponsors. So we truly appreciate the collaboration and the work that we to do with you. And Chelsea, thanks for coming on and just blowing our minds with the different things that the interactive board does, the features in the back end, and bringing your classroom energy to the pod has been amazing. So thank you so much for your time.
I have loved it, gentlemen. Thank you so much. And anytime you guys need a special co-host, you got my digits. So let me know.
All right.
Be careful what you offer, because you made us look so much smarter than we are in reality. So hey,
raising the bar.
It wasn't me. It was the glasses, guys. It was the glasses.
She's got all of our tricks. We're out. All right. Well, thank you so much. We truly appreciate it. All right. Okay. Thank you. All right. Whew, good stuff, man.
Yeah.
All right. So we gotta roll and control ourselves without all of her powerful technology tips. So, but I think it's time we do a little bit of discussion about the PAECT updates. What do you think?
Yes, definitely.
I got to update that picture for you. I got to get a new AI. So to round things out with what is going on at PAECT, let's go into our calendar here. So looking at the month of January. All right. So we've got our pod here. We had our KTI chat was awesome last week.
Yes.
Pal, Melissa Krenzer cranking it out. All right. We're rolling in. We got the Otis Regional Rumble, which may or may not have only 6 of our regions. And our Southwest is in, we got to check our timestamps for Dom. We've got Central PAECT is rocking an artifact adventure, a museum goose chase that they're doing virtually.
That is open for anyone, any PAECT members. You don't have to. There is some. I was talking with Sue Allen, the South Central Regional Director. Some of it is live, and you have to be at locations, but you don't have to be at a specific museum or a specific location. You could be anywhere near you that fits that description. So the part of it's virtual, part of it is location based.
Yeah, because they have virtual museums from across Pennsylvania as well as in process. So even though registration's closed, you can reach out to sue.allen@paect.org or reach out to Dom or I, and we can get you in contact if you're interested in joining. All right, we have, let's see. So that's rolling now. We have our book study. It looks like is that the last night of the book study? They're ready to launch book study.
And you could jump in on that, even if you want to if you haven't read the book, you want to lurk and see what the book studies are about. Please feel free to join in. I've been participating in that. It's a good one. Ready to launch. Launch cycle, just how to get kids more involved in the educational process. You do get Act 48 credits if you're a PA teacher for your participation. So we have one more session left.
That's awesome. And it's possible, I don't know, have they been recorded?
I'm not certain. I have to look into that.
But as always, you can always go into our if you're a PAECT premium member, you get your free Otis account, and then if it is recorded, that's usually where they'll end up at prior to.
The Northwest is running that. So I've been a participant, but not really working on the back end of it too much.
Gotcha. All right, the 28th, we've got our pre-Pete preparation. All right, so I will say that we had an awesome meeting on Monday with a lot of first-time presenters that are going to be at Pete and C this year, and kind of going through some things with them about what to expect. And then this is for anyone, whether it's your first time at Pete, your 17th time at Pete, whether it's your first time presenting, your 8th time presenting. Jennifer Tamberlin is going to walk members through some ideas to help maximize your learning experience in one of Pennsylvania's best technology conferences, if not the best technology conference. And honestly, just being there all those years, there's so many things you can easily get overwhelmed. And it's important for you to filter out what tech is going to help, what tech do I not need, sometimes I just need to be using paper pencil and just focus on that. Maybe I need to have just jot down some times and locations of places, or, otherwise the tech. And then in years past, you've had here and there with glitches with Wi-Fi. We've had some great Wi-Fi these last couple of years, knock on wood. And so, usually that won't be a sticking point, but just sometimes you're having conversations and to pull devices out to look at this or look at that, it gets to be, you want to be in the moment in the conversation. So, but she's going to go over a lot of tips and tricks that she has. It's offered through Zoom. So any PACT member is welcome to join and hear about some pre-Pete suggestions.
Yeah. And speaking of pre-Pete suggestions, check out our socials for PAECT, because we have some pre-Pete nuggets going out. Some have become obsolete, unfortunately, but there's other good ones.
Not going to mention any tips. Yeah. All right. And then we had Treadsy already. So we got the pre-Pete Zoom listed here. And then before you know it, we'll be rolling into February. So we got 9th through 12th Pete C, and then Passionate About Pete virtual meetup, post Pete. So a lot of things go in there. So
yeah, if you can't make Pete, you can check out the post Pete, Passionate About Pete, post Pete makeup. If you are in the area, we have the KTI pre-con. You don't have to be attending Pete and C to attend that. So reach out and check PAC.
We do need you to register on the website for it. That would be beneficial. Yep. All right. Good stuff. All right, man. Well, we're at the end. It's been a phenomenal, hour. It's flown by. A lot of great stuff. Your shirt, I think it's a little bit greener now, hearing about all the features that a Cleartouch board could provide.
It went from Treadsy green to Envy green.
I hear you. Same thing. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be, again, if we have the board in-house checking it out, definitely going to hit the booth and hear what more they have to share, because, in the world of technology, between now and Pete, they might have a couple new features that we don't know about. So,
if you are attending Pete, I believe we are giving plaques to our sponsors. They'll be hanging in their booths. I believe we're still doing that this year. Please stop by, thank them for what, not for our sponsors. We couldn't do it, not just the pod, but all the other activities and events that we hold through PAECT. And the Keystone Summit and all that. We have the sponsors that reach out and support us. Please stop by, talk with them, thank them, because without them, we couldn't do what we do with the organization.
You are correct. All right, man. Well, that's episode 71, and get clarity with Cleartouch. So let's make sure we want to thank those sponsors in video, but we also want to say PACT, we are
the voice of ed tech in Pennsylvania
and
beyond.
Thank you to our sponsors.
PAECT would like to say thank you to all of our sponsors.
Venture sponsor, EduSpire, corporate council members, ClassLink, Cleartouch.
Thank you to our gold sponsors,
Howard Technology Solutions, and Teachers First.
We at PAECT truly appreciate your support. Thank you once again.